Today, I want to take you through the process of how I created this two-piece outfit using magazine pieces from Bike Arkansas magazine. So the first thing I did was sketch out the design to kind of give me an idea of exactly where I wanted to take the design. I'm not going to say that I'm the best sketch artist, but I was able to sketch it enough to be able to see the dynamics of my design. The next thing was for me to get everything, all the pieces together, which was Bike Arkansas magazine, measuring tape, scissors, pen cushions, and instead of using craft paper to make the pattern pieces with, I end up using parchment paper, the kind that you can get from the baking section. After I gathered all the pieces, then I measured myself to see how big I needed to make the magazine pieces. And I knew that I was going to have to add some few inches in there because it was paper. And so one thing about paper is you can't make it your exact measurement. You have to make it a little bit bigger so that it'll be able to fit around your body without tearing. Another great thing that I've learned since designing fashion pieces from magazine pieces is that when you get some heavy duty tape and you put it around the edges, it causes them to last a little bit longer and you'll be able to move the fabric a little bit better. So the next thing, after having measured myself, writing down my measurements, getting all the things that I needed together, I sat down and began to mark my measurements and began to write out the measurements on my pattern paper, which again, I was using some wax paper, not wax paper, but I was using some parchment paper that you would use from the baking aisle. Wax paper, I've tried that before, and let me tell you, it is not the best to draw on. So this paper is kind of like craft paper. It's a little bit lighter, and you can get it from the baking aisle. And once I drew out my lines for my pattern piece, I went back over it in a Sharpie just so that I could show you guys a little bit more. I drew out my seam lines. I drew out the length of it, and here, this is what I am doing. I use measuring tape and a regular ruler so that I can make sure that the piece was on straight. And I only did half of the measurement. I did not draw out the full design. You only need half of it, just like you would a piece of fabric. So I acted as if I was using fabric, and I drew out half of the front, half of the front, half of the back for the shirt, half of the front for the pants, and half of the back for the pants. And then I cut the pieces out and I began to work on my actual magazine piece paper. With the magazine piece paper, I put it together as if it was fabric. So here you can see me drawing with a Sharpie, and we'll get back to the point of me putting the pieces of paper together like a piece of fabric. But here you can see me drawing out my pattern piece. You can also see where I'm going over it with a Sharpie, and I have my hemlines, and I'm just trying to trace everything out just so that you can be able to see it a little bit better. And I'm also labeling. So this is the front. Once I got all my pattern pieces once I got all my pattern pieces drawn and cut out, then I moved over to the actual magazine paper. So the paper kept rolling up, so in order to keep it straight, I had to get something to hold it down at the end so I can cut it out. And once I cut it out, I was able to lay it flat and I didn't have any more problems with it rolling up. So in order to make it more fabric like, I ball up the pieces of paper and then I unball them so that I can be able to work with them. So these are my unballed pieces of paper. I'm taking my glue stick and I am gluing the pieces of paper down together. Again, as I've stated before, I'm gluing it down so that I can create one big pattern piece, one big paper textile, so that it could be something that I can put the pattern pieces on and be able to cut them out like it was an actual piece of fabric that I was sewing together. The great thing about working with paper is that this is another way to be able to practice your sewing techniques without having to actually use fabric. And I also love this because when I put it together, then if I would like to do a design based off of it with fabric, then I can. And this gives me the opportunity to just do something fun. Because usually, you have magazines hanging around the house, you see them, you look at them, sometimes you keep them for a little while. And so rather than throwing it away, it gives you something extra that you can do that's creative and fun. And it's something that you can do with kids if you desire to do so. You can do it by yourself. It's a great way to just kind of get creative and get active and building up some fashion pieces. So this is my textile, I would say, made from magazine paper. And this is where I cut out the back and the front to the pants and the back and the front to the shirt. So here it is. This is what it ended up coming to look like, the pants as well as the shirt. I didn't get a chance to actually make the swoop because I didn't have enough magazine pieces. And I thought I was only going to need one magazine, but I actually end up using two. And this is my shirt. I sewed it up because I didn't think I was going to be able to fit into the pants. And so I was just like, you know what? I was going to make it to where I could fit the shirt, but I just kind of taped it together and put it here so that you can be able to see it. And then I kept on looking at the pants like, I know I can fit in here. I know I can fit inside of here. And so this is what it ended up looking like. And I was so surprised by the fact that I was able to put these pants together. And it showed me something that I could do better when I'm actually working with fabric, just by simply practicing on it. And I decided to go ahead and try the pants out because I just could not let go of the fact that I think I can fit them. And I could. There they are. And I'm just super, uber excited about being able to fit into them. And I hope and pray that you guys would give me a thumbs up, a follow, subscribe if you like it, if you want to see more.